Hello? Scorpio? No illusions today. No sugarcoating. What I'm about to share isn't wrapped in pretty language or masked with comfort. This is not one of those soft messages about divine timing or wishful signs. This is a direct warning a serious shift is taking place. And if you ignore the signs, you may find yourself facing consequences that could have been avoided. Something is unfolding around you, and it carries the weight of power, of law, of systems far beyond your control. Within the next 72 hours, a sequence will begin. And no, this isn't fear-mongering. It's alignment. It's karma reaching a pressure point. Scorpio, you know how to read the room better than anyone. You feel the energy before it walks in. You sense what people won't say. So let me ask you this, haven't you felt it too? This growing tension beneath the surface, the sudden silence from someone you usually hear from, the document that never arrived, the notification you're too anxious to open, the phone call you keep postponing. None of this is coincidence. The cards don't lie. Something is moving through legal channels, papers, names, systems circling around you. There is an authority involved, not necessarily to punish, but certainly to confront. This is your call to wake up. Not spiritually, but practically. You may have dismissed certain red flags recently, thinking they'd resolve themselves, trusting that time would soften the edges of a mistake, a delay, an overlooked detail. But time is no longer neutral. The clock is ticking, and this moment demands action, not avoidance. The cards show movement behind closed doors, conversations that include your name without your presence, mentions in reports, quiet inquiries. Someone is gathering information about you or something tied to your past. You may be thinking, I've done nothing wrong. And maybe you haven't, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't twisting the story, misinterpreting your silence, or leveraging an old mistake. The issue is not guilt, it's exposure. Scorpio, you've built your life around privacy, around keeping your most sacred truths behind 1,000 locks. But now, one of those locks has drawn attention, and someone is determined to open it. Not to destroy you, but to reveal something. The next 3 days are not just random. They're karmic checkpoints. What you do with this time will shape how this energy hits you. If you act, if you prepare, if you reach out to the right person, locate the right document, clarify the right truth, this moment becomes a redirection. But if you freeze, if you wait, if you pretend this tension is just in your head, then the moment may become a collision. This is not about paranoia. This is not drama. This is spiritual strategy. The Justice card sits in your future house. Upright, active, but not gentle. It brings order and thinking arsely begos gablessly. Truth, consequence, and the tower shadows your karma, meaning the foundation you thought was solid may be more fragile than you realized. This could be legal, financial, administrative, something involving contracts, taxes, business ties, or formal agreements that weren't fully read, misunderstood, or long forgotten. This could involve your home life, your digital footprint, your silence. And Scorpio, there is someone who knows more than they're saying, someone close, perhaps not malicious, but careless. They may have handed over your name, mentioned something they shouldn't have, or gotten involved in a process that now loops you in without your permission. And that carelessness is echoing through channels of power you can't see. That's what's so dangerous about this. It's not what you did. It's what's happening around you while you remain unaware. You are being given 72 hours to become aware, to shift from reactive to proactive, to check your inbox, your papers, your missed calls, to follow your intuition and listen, really listen to that part of you that's been pacing the floor at 3 a.m., whispering that something feels off. You're not wrong, and you're not alone, but you are responsible for how you move through this. And here's the truth. Beneath the threat, this storm carries a hidden gift. I know that sounds impossible when fear is knocking on your door. But the sun showed up in your house of transformation, and that tells me this trial is also your turning point. If you meet it with clarity, courage, and strategy, this could be the very situation that breaks a generational cycle, that frees you from a silent weight you've carried for years, that shifts your trajectory towards something more authentic, more stable, more powerful. But it won't feel that way at first. It'll feel like collapse, like exposure, like everything is falling apart. Scorpio, you don't need to fix everything in 3 days. You just need to respond. Don't isolate yourself. Don't go underground. Reach out to someone you trust. Consult someone who has experience with the system you're now brushing up against: legal, financial, bureaucratic, and above all, document everything. Print what needs to be printed. Back up what needs to be protected. Leave emotion out of it. This is not a time for panic. It's a time for precise, intelligent moves. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The wheel is turning, and the universe doesn't wait for comfort zones to catch up. It moves when it needs to move. So move with it. Say what needs to be said. Find what needs to be found. Send the email. Make the call. Stand in your truth, not to defend, but to clarify. That's all that's needed now. Clarity, movement, courage. You're Scorpio. You were built for thresholds like this. Just don't wait too long. The next 72 hours will determine whether this becomes a quiet breakthrough or a loud awakening. And you, of all people, you know the difference. Scorpio, as the storm gathers and the ground beneath you begins to shift, there is someone coming, not as a savior, not as a miracle, but as a strategic presence placed on your path with exacting purpose. A woman, not just any woman. A woman with power, not in the loud, performative sense, but in the quiet way she commands a room. In the clarity of her voice, in the way others lower theirs when she begins to speak. You may not see her at first. She won't arrive with drama or announcement. She will enter with timing precise, almost eerie in its perfection, and something in you will recognize her before your mind can name what she is. She is a lawyer in some cases, a counselor in others, a government official, a former contact, a professional you forgot you once crossed paths with, and now, seemingly out of nowhere, she reappears, holding a thread you didn't know you dropped. Her energy does not ask for your trust. It commands it, not through force, but through presence, through action, through the way she sees, through the noise of your fear, and cuts straight into the center of what needs to be done. She knows how to navigate systems. She knows how to read between lines. She knows how to dismantle a trap and build a pathway out of it. But she also knows something else: how to hold power without using it against you. That is rare, Scorpio, and you'll feel that difference immediately. This is not a woman who needs your admiration. She doesn't need you to agree with her, or impress her, or charm her. She is immune to posturing. What she responds to is truth, and what she offers is protection if you're willing to take it. You may hesitate at first. That's expected. Trust doesn't come easily to you, especially when the stakes are high, especially when someone claims to be here to help. But this woman will not push. She won't manipulate. She won't try to win your loyalty. She'll simply state the facts, clearly and without flattery. She'll tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. She'll point out the gaps in your story, the ones you didn't even realize were there. She'll ask questions you hadn't thought to consider, And slowly, the fog will begin to lift, not because she fixes everything, but because she reminds you that clarity is power, that knowledge is armor, that aligned action is your way out. She may appear in a professional setting, through a referral or unexpected introduction. She may be a contact from your past, someone whose name resurfaces in your mind for no apparent reason. Follow that nudge. Scorpio, the synchronicity won't lie. She may even show up through someone else, a friend, a colleague, a neighbor who says, almost casually, you should talk to her. She's helped a lot of people through something similar. Don't dismiss it. Don't delay. The timing of this meeting will not be accidental, and here's what you need to understand. This woman carries a kind of divine placement. She is not just a professional, she is a karmic ally. Her presence is part of a larger correction, a balancing of energy that has long been tipped against you. You may have been silenced in the past, dismissed, misrepresented, or unsupported in critical moments. This time, the universe isn't letting you walk alone. She is the response to that imbalance. She's not coming to hold your hand. She's coming to walk beside you as an equal, as someone who knows, in many ways, she is everything. You are strategic, intuitive, composed, but with the one advantage you need right now, distance. She's not emotionally entangled in the situation. She sees what you can't, because she's standing outside the storm. She knows how the system works. She knows how people move in shadows. She knows what to say, and more importantly, what not to say. And when your fear starts to rise, when your pride tempts you to minimize what's happening or pretend it's under control, she will look you directly in the eye and say, we don't have time for ego. We have time for facts. And just like that, you will remember who you are. There's something sacred about women who carry truth without bitterness, power without cruelty, knowledge without condescension. And this woman, Scorpio, is one of them. She's not here to save you from yourself. She's here to awaken your precision, to restore your balance, to make sure your voice is heard in a room that wasn't built for you. She knows the cost of silence. She's seen the damage done when someone like you faces institutions alone. And she is not here for that narrative. She is here to rewrite it with you. But you must meet her halfway. That's important. She cannot walk into your life and fix what you're not willing to face. She will ask you to show up. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but honestly. She will need your timelines, your records, your history, and most of all, your truth. The more you hide, the harder her job becomes. So when she shows up, Scorpio, let her see the whole story, not just the pieces that make sense, not just the ones that feel safe to share. Give her the full puzzle, even if some of the pieces are missing. Even if you're ashamed of a few, because what she offers is not just help, it's strategy, and what she gives you is not just support, it's structure, the kind that can withstand the storm you're walking into, the kind that turns chaos into clarity and fear into a plan. She is your bridge, Scorpio, between what was and what will be, between uncertainty and resolution, between exposure and empowerment. And when the dust settles, you'll look back on this woman not as a rescuer but as a mirror, a reminder of the strength you forgot you had, the logic you suppressed under emotion, the leadership you didn't think you were allowed to claim. So listen for her. Look for her. Trust the quiet nudge that leads you to her name, her voice, her presence. Don't delay. She is not a coincidence. She is the message. And she is right on time. Scorpio, I won't lie to you, something is slipping away. And no, it's not just a fear. It's real. It's tangible. You can feel it in the way your body tightens when you look at your bank statements. The way your breath shortens when you think about your home, your contracts, the promises you've made to keep everything together. Something is changing, and it may cost you money, security, a place you thought you'd never leave, a comfort you thought would never end. Maybe it's already begun. Little signs like delayed payments, a broken agreement, a notice that came in the mail and hasn't left your mind since. And while your instinct may be to grip tighter, to brace, to resist, I need you to hear this with clarity and compassion. This loss is not a punishment. It is a karmic release. You've carried so much that wasn't yours to hold. You've invested your energy in places that no longer reflect who you are. You've protected systems that once protected you but have now become cages. And the universe, in its uncompromising wisdom, has chosen this moment to liberate you, not gently, but truthfully. That's the thing about Scorpio transformation. It rarely comes dressed in softness. It comes in waves, in fire, in endings that feel like failure but are actually fierce invitations to begin again. Maybe what's leaving your life is something you once prayed for. Maybe it's a version of success that no longer aligns. Maybe it's a space that once held you but has grown too small for the spirit you've become. Either way, the message is the same. Let go. Let go. Not because you have nothing left to hold, but because the thing you're clinging to is tied to a cycle that's already complete. To grip it longer is to delay your rebirth. And Scorpio, you were made for the phoenix path. There may be fear. There may be shame. There may even be a part of you that whispers, I should have seen this coming. I should have done something differently. But let me tell you something that only someone who's walked through fire would understand. Karma doesn't come to punish the innocent. It comes to correct the imbalance. It comes to release you from contracts that have run their course, to clear your path, to dissolve attachments that once served you but are now too heavy for the next version of you to carry. So yes, something may be lost, but something far more sacred is being returned. Your sovereignty, your clarity, your ability to start over without apology. And here's where the shift begins. In the stillness that follows the collapse, in the moment you realize that what you feared most loss isn't actually the end, but a sacred reset. The tower has fallen not to destroy you, but to remove what stood between you and your evolution. And what rises in its place is not chaos, it's coherence. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering someone ancient, someone wise, someone whose strength has never depended on possessions, but on purpose. Scorpio, the sun sits in your house of transformation. That means rebirth isn't coming. It's here. The moment you stop running from the crumbling and start trusting the cleansing, everything changes. The clarity comes, the path reveals, the new cycle begins. But it can only begin when you're willing to stop mourning the chapter that's closing and start preparing for the one being written with your name carved into its spine. This is where you reclaim your narrative. You get to decide what this moment means. It can be a crisis, or it can be your call to rise. It can be the breaking point, or it can be the point at which you break free. It can be the end of something shallow or the start of something sacred. And let me say this with love. But without softness, you are not here to survive. You are here to resurrect again and again and again, until you become the most unfiltered version of your truth, until you no longer measure your worth by what you own or how well you hide your fear, until your life reflects not what you're protecting but what you're creating. So if the home shakes, let it. If the job ends, grieve it. If the money disappears, breathe. But do not go backward. Do not beg for a past that broke you to let you back in. The Scorpio within you knows this. What is burned is not lost. It is reborn. You may not yet see the blessings that are forming beneath the ashes, but you will. Give it time. And trust what your soul already knows, that when the universe takes something from your hands, it's because your hands are meant to be open for something greater. In the months ahead, What once looked like a downfall will reveal itself as divine redirection. You will meet new allies. You will find new structure. You will discover talents within yourself that were dormant, waiting for this exact storm to awaken them. You will rise taller, clearer, freer. So let the winds come. Scorpio, let them clear what is no longer aligned. Let them strip away the illusions of stability that never truly fed you. And then, when the dust settles, stand in the center of what remains. It may be quiet. It may be unfamiliar, but it will be yours. Real, raw, and finally, ready to bloom. Scorpio, when the storm clouds gather and the wind begins to shift, the question is no longer, why is this happening, but what must I do now? This isn't about avoiding the change, it's about meeting it. Eyes open, feet grounded, heart aware. Because the universe is not asking for your panic, your regret, or even your tears. It's asking for your precision, your focus, your sacred ability to act with strategy, not fear. And so, let us begin with the first step. Find the document. You know exactly which one I mean. Maybe you've forgotten where you placed it. Maybe you've been avoiding it. Maybe it's sitting in a drawer you haven't opened in months. Or buried in a cloud folder you never revisit. But it matters now, deeply. This document, this record, this email, to this signature, it is a thread in the web that's now tightening around you. Something to do with work, with finances, with a past agreement, or a promise that is now circling back for clarification or confrontation. Don't wait until someone else brings it up. Go find it yourself. Read it. Understand it. And if you don't get someone who does, which brings us to the second step. Consult someone who sees clearly what you don't. This is not the time to guess. This is not the time to tell yourself, it'll pass. You're standing at the threshold of a legal, financial, or contractual entanglement that could grow quickly if not met with the right guidance. And Scorpio, guidance does not mean opinions from friends or scrolling advice from strangers. This is where a true professional steps in. A lawyer, an advisor, a legal contact you've crossed paths with before. A woman of precision, perhaps someone who knows how systems move, how paperwork breathes, how silence can either protect or destroy. Do not choose someone just because they're convenient. Ask around. Trust the referral that feels aligned. Trust the energy. And when you find the right person, tell them the truth. Not just the clean version, the full one, because only full honesty can lead to full defense. And as this wave moves forward and the logistics begin to take form, don't forget your soul in the process. Return to your family, not just biologically, spiritually, whether they are blood or chosen. You must reconnect with those whose energy strengthens your own. There is power in collective intention, and your aura is calling for reinforcement. You've been holding this alone for too long. Scorpio, pride has kept you from speaking. Fear has convinced you that no one would understand, but that silence is no longer safety, it's isolation. And now, more than ever, you need a network of grounded energy, of love, of witness. Call your mother, text the friend you've avoided, light a candle for the ancestor who stood beside you in childhood, who still walks with you in dreams. Let them know, not everything, but something. Let them stand with you, in spirit and in truth. The universe cannot protect what you keep hidden. Open the energy field by opening your voice. And finally, prepare not just your calendar or your folder or your lawyer, but prepare your mind for what this really is. This isn't just a setback. This isn't just a hard week. This is a soul initiation, a point of no return, a karmic detour that is redirecting your life toward a higher more liberated timeline, but the cost of stepping into that future is releasing the need to remain who you've been. You must be willing to shed the identity built around control, the safety built around silence, the illusion that you can protect everything if you just stay 5 steps ahead. Scorpio. Transformation is never sterile. It's messy, it demands action, but it also demands presence. So as you prepare for the phone call, the meeting, the signatures, the truth, also prepare for the version of you that will no longer exist after this is complete, the version that's burnt out from overfunctioning, the version that hides how tired it is behind stoicism, the version that's used to surviving alone, because this time, you're not just surviving, you're strategizing, you're aligning, you're rising. So breathe, then act, then protect what matters, then release what no longer serves. Then walk head high, chest open into the fire, not because you want the pain, but because you understand the rebirth that lives on the other side of it. And that, Scorpio, is the most radical act of power you can take this week. To act with intention, to prepare with love, to face what comes, and no longer flinch.